I could do that. Sure, I can. And now you're boosting yourself up to the point that, like, hey, you're gonna blow up in this. Like, the brain's just gonna go splatting all over the place, and you're gonna go, I got it, and that's it. You got it.
I got it.
Right. Yeah. It'll just come out of nowhere.
Wow, great point. I got it. So let's talk about finding a voice and being authentic, because that really leads back to the core, leads to beliefs about ourselves, isn't it? Isn't it interesting?
Oh, definitely. I mean, let's face it. I mean, we were, in fact, I think it was on it was on Karen's show, Karen Dover's show, that we were talking about the right brain and the left brain. You know, the yin.
Jamie mentioned that as well.
The yin and the yang. You know, I always say, did you ever watch like the old movies where there was a devil on one shoulder and an angel on the other one? You know, that's what you got. You get the bad, good, and the bad, good side going back and forth. The little voice net inside you. Let me tell you something. We all have it. It talks to us every single day. Our problem is we don't listen. That's our biggest problem. And the way to listen is, like as I said, the first thing you do is go believe in yourself first. Go look in that mirror. Go look at yourself. Convince yourself that you do count. You are a person. You are one of 7 billion on this planet that count. And right there, you got it made.
Absolutely.
And I mean, you from wait a minute, from what you had with your history, okay? You went into Macy's. You didn't know English. You battled the things that were against you 100% and made it, doing what you were doing. I said to you when I was interviewing you, I had said that I was going to wait till my show to tell you my side of it. What happened to you in Macy's? There was a similar instance that happened to me too when I was a kid. First of all, on the other side of this, my father passed away when I was 9 years old. He was 45 years old. He had a heart attack. Boom, that was it. My sister was 4, and my mother. We owned a house. We had things like lawns and all the stuff, that men do. Okay? Now that was all my responsibility to do all these things. Now, I was 9 years old. So there were things that used to happen in our house, and that little things. My father would bring home something, and that from my sister, and my sister was only 4 years old, right? So she's a baby, and she's like the best thing in my life because she's my sister. And I said to myself, I have to make some money in that, because my mother doesn't have it. So I got to go out and I got to make some money. Anyway, there's an article in the paper, and I call it this number to be a newspaper deliver person. So here I am. I'm 9. I was just going on 10 almost. And this guy actually came to our house. And he was one of the district managers for the newspaper. Came to our house, and he said to me, I'd love to give you the job, but we can't do it unless you're 12 or 13, I think it was. And I said, but I can do it. And he said, that's our rules. And my mother turned around and looked at him. She said, if he wants to do it, what's wrong with that? So he turned around and he said, you're right. Okay. He gave me, I swear to you, this is absolute truth. He gave me 7 customers. Now you got to figure, back then you could get your newspaper for the week for 35 cents. Now I just made myself real old. That was back when gas was $0.25 a gallon. But wow is right. But what happened was he gave me the 7 customers, and he said, look, if you want, you can grow your group, your group of people that you deliver to, just by, asking and talking to people and everything else, and just say, I'm delivering the newspaper net for this, I'll deliver yours. Well, that was when I was just 10 when I started. From 10 to 16, I had that job. So that was 6 years. For the 6 years, I went from 7 customers that were up and down my street, believe it or not, to 63 customers in 3 towns.
That is an incredible story. You know, it's interesting. Another synchronicity. I was delivering newspapers in Leningrad, Russia, when I was 18, and I was, I was skinny, and that was my first job, and I had over 1,000 apartments, and we had no cart, we had nothing. So literally one day it was raining, and it rains more than in London. I was so exhausted because I had to start working 4 o'clock in the morning, delivering newspapers that people can, receive by 7 a.m. And I couldn't leave the stack of newspapers and the magazines. And I was delivering this New World magazine. It was very thick. It's one of the best, and I think the only literary magazine in Russia back then. And I was just dragging the stack of papers because it started raining. And I got, that day, when I got back to the office, to the post office, the phone was ringing nonstop. Every single complaint was associated with my name.
Wow.
I was sitting there and crying, and my boss said, well, you have to figure out how you're going to deliver this, the rest of the newspapers. And she didn't tell me what to do and how to do. I had to figure it myself.
Yep.
And I didn't. I mean, your situation. That I'm just speechless because being 9 and working, for next 6 years and growing your customers. No wonder you're so successful and you're so humble and compassionate, Bob. Thank you so much for sharing that story.
Well, I did that at that time, and I also took care of a house, took care of my mother. I was the man of the house, whether I liked it or not.
You really grew up immediately.
It was like snapping your finger, and that's the way that was. Then, of course, you grow up, and when I was 17 years old, and that, of course, you had to borrow Mom's car, and that I had a motorcycle, though, a little motorcycle at that time. My mother almost killed me because I had first of all, I'll tell you a good story. This is great for everybody out there, and that because you know what? When you really want something, it happens. It happens because you say it will. And this is actually what happened. I was 17 years old. I couldn't afford a car or anything. My first car was $30. I swear to you. $30. It was a 1959 Studebaker with a 6-cylinder motor, a the stick shift that was on the steering wheel and everything. And I'm telling you, I mean, we used to go out on Saturday nights and that on $3, used to fill up the tank, and we used to go out bowling in this $30 car. And that's what we had because I couldn't afford anything else. I mean, that was just the way it was. I got to when I was 18, and on my 18th birthday, my mother, now this tells you, some of the things, this is a trick, by the way, for all you people out there that have kids, because my mother did it, and it was very successful doing it. My mother, for many years, all the 6 years that I had the newspaper route, what happened was all the extra money that I had, other than the money that I made on the route, because you get tips. Everybody used to tip back then. So if it was 35 cents for the week, somebody would always give me like, I don't know, maybe another 35 cents net just for putting it in the door when it rained, or little things that I did like that for people. So she used to take all that money that I used to leave on top of my chest, and she used to take it and put it somewhere. I didn't care. It was my mother. What's the big deal? So, okay, she used to take that. When I was 18, let's say I had the other car, the $30 car in there for a year, and let me tell you, it was going quick. It wasn't that great at all. But it got me to where I had to go. So anyway, she turned around to me and she says, I told her about this car that I saw in a Ford dealer. And the guy who was in the Ford dealer, the salesman, said to me, he said, you know what? He says, that car is a, he said, it's not a 70, this was 1971. He said, it's a 1970. It's not a 71. It's a leftover. So he said, we send that back to somewhere else and that where it gets auctioned or something. So I told my mother about it. My mother said to me, she says, you really like that car? I said, Mom, I'm telling you, you got to come down and look at it. So we got in her car, and we went down and we looked at this car. My mother, of course, her mouth dropped to the floor, and she was like, "No way!" This was a Torino GT, fully blown with the windows and the flat thing and everything else. And back then, believe it or not, a brand new car like that was only $2,700.
Wow.
Yes, brand new was $2,700. So, and it was dark maroon. At night, it looked black. It had steel wheel. Oh, it was unbelievable, and it was brand new. So here I am, 18 years old, and I'm looking at a brand new car like I'm out of my mind, right? Like I really have like $2,000 that I'm going to go and spend on a car. Well, let's go back to the newspaper route and the money that was missing off the top of the chest. My mother took that money, put all that money away that she had collected. I don't know where she put it, but it made some money somehow. Banks even gave interest back then in a savings account. And I had everything but $500. Everything but $500 to buy that car. And at that time, we also knew there was a finance company that my mother had known, somebody that my mother and my father had used them, for years on and off, and that when they were building the house. And the guy turned around and he says, "You know what? I'm going to trust you." He says, "You're going to pay this back." I got a loan for $500. It was my first loan in my whole life. I had the $2,100 or $200 net to buy the car. And I had a brand new car when I was 18 years old. And I felt really good. Because every single thing that I put a positive spin on in my life, I was sitting in it.
It's truly an amazing story. But another thing is, for everyone who is listening, is that if you're feeling things are not the way you're expecting, or the results are not the way you expected, and things turn out in a different way, not favorable to you, I would encourage what I do, exactly what Bob did right now. I go back to the event where things worked very well beyond my expectation, and when I felt so much gratitude and excitement and felt happy, like I felt like, you probably felt like you deserved that, right, Bob? You felt so great. You were so grateful to your mom, to your family, to your customers, to the employee, to the guy who loaned. So many people to thank for. And go back to that moment. It doesn't matter. You could be 9-year-old, 18, 17, 23, 35, 65, 95. Go back and just feel it and just absorb that energy, increase that vibration, awaken every cell in your mind, your brain, your body to remember, because it contains the memory. It remembers. So you just bring this memory back and go back and revisit your situation, and I promise things will shift.
Now, you just said something that was very important because, and I say this too all the time, whatever you did in your life, mirror your best times in your life, the things that meant the most to you. Mirror them over. Bring them in. Make them part of your Easter basket of good things. If you take those good things and let them grow, they grow and grow and grow, and the bad things out the window, gone. That's all positive energy, and that's using it.
Moments when you were 9-year-old, and 9-year-old, and making the decisions, not only for yourself but for family. And I know you learned many things, but what one thing that you learned that was so helpful to you?
What was the one thing that made me? There was so many.
Yeah, one thing that you learned, how to make the decision, how to trust your decision. Or sometimes we